For 2 weeks, protests have taken to the streets of Panama, demanding the government take action to combat the high cost of living. Prices of gasoline, medicine, and basic food items have doubled since the start of the year.
I once heard it said that a hungry man doesn't see right or wrong, they just see food. Did you know that in a lot of other countries surrounding us, even including Canada, they are uprising due to lack of these basic necessities? Sri Lanka ran out of food. The Netherlands are running out of food. And I mean, even in China, banks are shutting down and they're taking people's savings and people took to the streets. And that's just a few examples. At this point, you may be asking yourself, how is this all happening right now and all at the same time? Or the better question, why haven't I really heard about this? This is all happening right now, not because of a cosmic coincidence, but because of careful planning to save the environment. Policies have been adopted years prior in these countries, and now they're seeing the results of those policies. And America is implementing these same policies at this moment. So by now, if you haven't hit the subscribe button, it would be in your best interest to do so, because on this channel, we discuss what the mainstream media is not talking about. And I give you the facts and you connect the dots. You know, you have the right to know what's going on around you, what's happening, in order for you to make informed decisions. If you have already subscribed, thank you. And y'all don't forget to hit the like button, okay? If you're in a mindset that this can't happen here, the time has come for me to introduce you to Biden 3030. A week after Joe Biden became president, he signed an executive order that announced his commitment to protecting 30% of U.S. land and water. So that's over 720 million acres by 2030. In order to tackle three climate challenges: the disappearance of nature, climate change, and inequitable access to the outdoors, the report laid out a locally led, science-based, and collaborative roadmap toward achieving 30 by 30. As part of it, Biden administration invited farmers, ranchers, and fishermen to get involved, promising to maintain ranching in the West as an important and proud way of life. The report also acknowledged the conservation movement's discriminatory past, including its appropriation of Native American ancestral and land and neglecting communities of color. And it was vowed to work towards a more inclusive future. That all sounds promising, doesn't it? But unfortunately, these executive orders, they're so broad and they all sound promising, but they don't go into full detail or illustrate exactly how all of this conservation would be done. The executive order also never discussed accidentally killing 3,000 animal lives in order to help with climate change. How could that ever help with climate change? When you think of conservation of land or protecting nature, you also think of maintaining a better environment for the wildlife. And you have every right to think that, because that's a noble thought for what should be a noble cause. But sadly, these animals had to be sacrificed because they were polluting the earth way too much with their bodily smog. No, that's not a joke. That's greenhouse gas emissions. What is greenhouse gas emissions and why should animals be slaughtered because of it? Earth's greenhouse gases trap heat in the atmosphere and warm the planet. The main gases responsible for greenhouse effects include carbon dioxide, methane, nitrous oxide, and water vapor, which all occur naturally, and fluorinated gases, which are synthetic. In easier terms for you and I to understand, these are mostly vapors that come out of animals or mammals when they urinate or move their bowels or fart or burp. Vapors that have never been a problem before, but now they're so criminal that 3,000 animal lives had to accidentally be ended. And why do I keep saying accidentally? Well, those 3,000 lives weren't supposed to aid in making the number of 1.7 million. Yes, 1.7 million animals. They are intentionally killed in order to save the planet. Okay, just subtract 3,000. Whoopsies, we killed an extra 3,000. 1.7 million. These governmental agencies will cite many other reasons why this had to be done, but it boils down to, in a nutshell, is for climate change. Okay, this was reported in the National Geographic on April 2022. And take notice to the fact that they're saying animals, they don't say wildlife. So it leads me to believe, to know that livestock is included in this number too. I'm no way a vegetarian, but I don't believe in slaughtering animals for reasons, okay? That we are being told are problems but never were before. You may remember or saw a quick visual of thousands of cows dead on a ranch. That image, along with our food shortage issues, was why I decided to, find out what's really going on around here. Everything is connected. Remember, we're saving the planet from climate change, and greenhouse gases are a culprit, and they must be dealt with. Cattle is apparently a big culprit of greenhouse gas emissions and need to be dealt with. We are told that cows and other farm animals are responsible for 14% of the methane that is emitted into the atmosphere. Remember, methane is dirty greenhouse gas and it comes from burping and farting. So, all right, let's recap this segment real quick. We're working to combat climate change, so we need to conserve land and fight greenhouse gases. As of right now, Biden 3030 plan continues to operate in a foggy state. You don't know what the next step is until it pretty much happens. Okay. So remember, they need to conserve 30% of land. And in order to conserve that land, they have to own 30% of land, which is now giving a problem in Nebraska because Nebraska's land is 97% owned privately by the farmers there. And so now that their governor and the federal government, they're going back and forth because he's saying, well, how are you going to get this land? Like, we own 97% of it. So what's going to happen here? And the feds are like, well, just trust us. Everything will work out fine. Casey, we need to do this for the planet and climate change. But what if I said that there's proof that none of this will do any good for the planet? And in fact, if we just leave everything alone, the ecosystem really will take care of itself. Alan Savory is, in short terms, a eco-scientist who, in his younger days, looked at the science too fast, or I don't know exactly what happened, but he said he determined that elephants would cause much land destruction and that they needed to lower the numbers of elephants in Africa, which ended up causing the death of many elephants in Africa, and he was wrong. And he says for that, he will always take that pain he will take that pain to his grave. However, out of that, he went back and looked at the science again and realized that grazing animals will actually save the planet. He stated that if you let animals graze by feeding on the grass to a certain level, dropping their excrement, and then walking on it, which digs it into the soil, which traps the vapors, okay, it would do wonders for land conservation. And he took his hypothesis to many places in Africa and other countries. And he was not only able to help them restore their dead land, but they could even grow crops, which brings food security to these countries, right? And here, this is one visual of the before and after. But if you watch his TED Talk, he has a lot more visuals. But back at home and other places, and yes, other places, because I've seen footage of dead sheep, just a bunch of dead sheep in a country of Georgia from last year. We are removing our grazing animals while begging for mercy with climate change. This is not only affecting our natural environment negatively, but it's cutting into the food supply as well. But of course, I'm sure there's a solution to that, right? Well, meet your solution, Mr. CRISPR cow, who was genetically modified with climate change in mind. He has some slick, pretty hair, and it helps him fight off heat exhaustion. Brought to you by the lovely Bill Gates. Of course, remember, thousands of cows died from heat exhaustion, right? Okay. Well, Bill Gates has your answer, and he now owns most of the farmland in our country. So his synthetic meat will be hitting your dining room tables in no time. This is not even half of it. On this channel, we are going to delve into Biden's 3030, what's going on with that, just all of these policies that are effectively not only changing the way we live, but destroying the infrastructure, the security infrastructure that we have, energy, of food, our economy. It's all connected. And all of this is to save the planet. And now at this point, you're probably like, well, how are we going to save the planet? And I can't even do anything in it. I feel like, what am I going to do if I'm being stripped away of everything? But you want to know who actually emits most of the methane, dirty, not nitrous oxide gases and all? Humans. You are responsible for most of the methane gas that they say is in this greenhouse gas emissions. Okay. So I want you to think about that and let that marinate. Thank you for watching this video, and I'll see you at the next one. Bye.